What's up, everybody? This week I'm joined by Sarah Connolly as we talk about one of the greatest albums written by one of the greatest bands of all time, Foo Fighters, The Color and The Shape. That and a whole lot more is to come on this week's episode of the 90s Podcast. Welcome to the show. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the 90s Podcast, right here in the Because Maybe Network. Hope you're doing well this fabulous Sunday afternoon, and I'm joined by Sarah Connolly. Sarah, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, dear?
I'm doing really, really good. It has been a long time since we've heard your wonderful, wonderful voice on this here show.
Thank you much.
But then again, it's been a long time since we've heard anybody's voice on this here show.
This is true. Semantics, yes.
Yes, but, yes, we're into it. So, we're about to get ahead and start talking about Foo Fighters, The Color and The Shape. But before we do... Check out becausemaybepodcast.com. That's where you find out all of our archives. Every single episode of every single thing that we've done is on becausemaybepodcast.com.
Yes.
Go check out Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That's where you'll find all of our latest news and some new content that we've had, courtesy of our wonderful social media elf. Thank you very much. And if you listen to this on someplace that's not your regular podcast thing, we are on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, Pandora. I got the list somewhere, but hang on, let me go read off the list that I do with the video game every single Tuesday. But Sarah, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful, dear. How are you?
I'm doing good. So what have you been up to this past year? Because I asked Greg the same thing.
I've been writing under my pseudonym.
Oh.
But this year I'm going to release some material under my own name, so that'll be fun. Yes.
Nice.
Isn't it?
Sounds good. Okay, I've got this. Never mind.
Okay.
So if you not never mind, I want to hear what you're doing, but thank you for stalling for time while I check out Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podchaser, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, and Podbean. That's where you'll find all of the podcasts that we do, okay? And if this is not where you listen to it normally, go check out one of them. We'll be on there, okay?
Absolutely.
So first album of the season.
Yes.
Albums are the hardest to research because you have to listen to it and take notes, and listen to it and take notes, and listen to it more and take notes, and then you probably miss something, and probably the biggest fan in the world is laughing at you because you haven't got the right meaning of something.
Right.
But this week we're talking about Foo Fighters, The Color and the Shape, the sophomore album of the great band. Excuse me.
Yes.
So this was released on May 20th, 1997.
Yep.
It was number 10 in the Billboard charts, which is really, really good, apparently. Number 3 in the UK album charts, which is really, really good, too. It was produced by Gil Norton. We'll get to him here in a minute. It was released on the Roswell and Capitol labels, and this is more an alternative, post-grunge, hard rock, alternative rock kind of album.
Yes.
So, when was the first time you listened to this album?
This album, let's see, it was released in May. That summer, I got it, and it lived in my CD player for the first semester of the next school year.
Nice.
Every morning was Monkey Wrench. Literally, that was our wake-up call. We'd put it on 13, as they would say, in Spinal Tap land, or 11, or whatever. We'd turn it up to everything, and just go.
Sweet.
Yes. So I have a soft spot for this album.
I first heard it when I was in college. I had a friend of mine who lived across the hall from me who had pretty much
better taste. Better taste.
Not really, because I got great taste in music.
But you didn't know this one.
I didn't know this. I didn't have all of this one. I had tracks here and there, the singles and so on and so forth, but I never really got the full album. And he was gracious enough to lend me a copy of it, which I then ripped to my computer.
Of course you did.
Because that was the style at the time. You didn't have none of this Apple Music crap. And like you, Monkey Wrench was the song.
Yeah.
That I like Monkey Wrench. I liked Hey Johnny Park.
That was a good one.
And it was a real good experience because it I don't know, it touched you. Yeah. Which some alternative rock albums didn't do that at the time.
There's not a bad song on this album.
Not at all. Not at all. There's it's all good. It's all really, really good. But let's talk about how we get to the album first, okay? Because Dave Grohl released an album called Foo Fighters back in 1995.
Yes.
Wasn't the name of a band. It was just the name of the album. Kind of like The Good, the Bad, and the Queen. It was an unnamed...
But it stuck.
It stuck. It was an unnamed band, but it stuck. And, you know, this was released a year and a half after the death of Kurt Cobain. Yeah. And for those who, you know, have figured it out, Dave Grohl does look like the drummer from Nirvana, because they are the same person. If you didn't know that, you should be listening.
Right.
Anyway.
And now I've got that Mentos video in my head.
Yes.
Yes.
The name of that song gets 5 points. But you know, you can describe Dave Grohl's career as post Kurt Cobain, pre during Kurt Cobain. You know.
Yes.
Because I mean, he shot to fame with Nirvana as the real energetic.
Yeah.
You know, the great drummer. He's a fantastic, phenomenal drummer. But he wrote this album called Foo Fighters.
Yes.
Some of the tracks he demoed during the Nirvana days. Mm-hmm. And basically, a lot of the album is his personal experiences, but there are some that are connected to the band.
Right.
And people connected to the band.
Right.
Like screaming, "I don't owe you anything" to Connie Love.
Yeah.
Not that rub you up the wrong way.
Not necessarily. Dave's got, you know... Dave's one of those people that gets a pass, man. I mean, you've got people with legit beefs, and they gotta be able to get them out. So,
but after the success of the album, he needed to go on tour, so he recruited former Nirvana guitarist Pat Smear, good old Uncle Pat, Nate Mandel, and William Goldsmith to complete the lineup. Yeah. And then after the tour was done, Goldsmith went bye-bye. Yeah. Don't know where he went. Don't know what he did. But
you got to go home, but you can't stay here.
Exactly. Yeah. He left the band.
Yes.
So they hooked up. So they hooked up with Gil Norton, who's a pop rock alternative.
Right.
Hang around in the Britpop scene a lot, or the post Britpop scene, or the non Britpop scene, whatever you want to call it. That you know, you had Cast, who was phenomenally Britpop.
Yes.
James, who sat on the fence. TerraVision, who weren't, and Counting Crows too.
Cool.
So he worked with a diverse set of acts in the sense of they might be guitar bands, but they don't play the same music, and all he would do was polish them up.
Right.
The album does contain very, very deep lyrics as opposed to Foo Fighters.
Well, yeah. I mean, it talks about his divorce and his affair and all that other good stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was written about going through a painful divorce.
Yes.
And that was inspired by Norton to do that. Norton's like, look, dude, you can't just write random lyrics.
Right. I mean, you gotta use it. Yeah.
Get in touch with your pain and write about it.
Yeah.
And he did. And Grohl said in Melody Maker that I can actually write things I feel strongly about and the things that mean something to me and things I wouldn't normally say in everyday conversation. Which a lot of people who are closed off and write music kind of do when they write personal music. They close themselves off and they put it all into their music.
Right.
And, you know, the type of songs were influenced by the divorce, as Grohl felt they were representative of the specific emotions he would feel after the divorce. That was in Rock and Roll, written by Marcel Andes.
Okay.
So, that makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah. And then, well, I think we're going to go, when we go track by track, we'll talk some more about some of the backgrounds of the songs. So, but then after the recording, Pat left.
Yeah.
But I remember, God, I'm aging myself. They did the pre-show for the VMAs that year or the movie awards. I'm not sure. But that's when they announced that Pat was leaving. Yeah. They did 2 songs, one with Pat and then one with the new lineup without Pat.
Yeah, with Fran Stoll.
Yes. So, I remember watching that live as it happened. So, you know. Pat
Smear is a unique individual.
Yes.
And I mean, we can joke about it all. We call him Uncle Pat, blah, 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 right?
Yes.
But he looks older than he is.
He always has. I mean, he
hasn't aged a day since 1993.
But I mean, he came on the scene looking like 52.
And he's probably, 52 now, and...
He's probably a little older than that now.
He's probably about 60 years old.
He was older than the band, wasn't he?
I think so. I mean, you know, it's rare that you get somebody who joins in as a session musician as, you know, is a lot older than, you know, than he is. He's 62 years old.
Right.
So compare that to Foo Fighters...
Dave Grohl is how old?
Dave Grohl is 52. So he's 10 years older than Dave Grohl. So, but he looks like he's 30 years older than him because neither of them have aged a day. You watch MTV Live Unplugged in New York.
Yeah, Dave hasn't aged.
Neither of them have aged.
They're like freaking vampires.
Chris Novoselic has
aged for
everybody. It's kind of like U2. Bono hasn't aged, but the drummer has.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So to complete the lineup of the band, they needed a new drummer, and they got Taylor Hawkins. Excuse me, Tyler. I've wrote down Tyler. It's Taylor. Mm-hmm. Taylor Hawkins become the official drummer of the group, which... what's the best way to say about Taylor Hawkins drumming? If you put Kurt Cobain and Dave Grohl in a machine, and decided to give the looks of one and the musical ability of the other,
boom! Out comes Taylor.
Out comes Taylor. He is a phenomenal guitarist and an even better drummer.
Yes,
sound familiar? He looks just like Kurt Cobain.
There's
Dave
a resemblance
Grohl.
there. Yes,
he looks like the pair of them.
Yeah,
I mean, he is the ultimate clone.
Yes,
but yeah, so that's how this album come about. I mean, this album was, Dave Grohl, Pat Smear, and Nick Mandel working their magic with their instruments, with Gil Norton providing the knob twiddling.
Knob twiddling.
Yes, that's what it's called in the business.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
I'm a professional knob twiddler, and I'm leaving that in. So we're gonna go through all the music is written by the band.
Yes.
Unless I tell you otherwise.
Yes.
So just assume that it's written by Dave Grohl, Nick Mandel, and Pat Smear.
Gotcha.
And any of the meanings that I talk about is not something I'm pulling out of my behind. This is what has been officially put on record, or the biggest fan theories out there.
Okay.
And in some cases, both. That's why it takes a long time to research the album, because you got to find the hidden meanings of some stuff.
Yes.
So we start off with Doll.
Okay.
So Doll is a song about the fear you have when you have to do something unprepared.
Yes. It also seems to be about regret and doing the thing unprepared.
Yep.
Like doll me up in my bad luck and I'll meet you there.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's single guitar over undulated filtered vocals, and then changes to a more normal rock song, and it's like a minute and a half long.
Right.
So what do you think?
I mean, it's a solid song for what it is. I think it helps intro that this album's going to be a little different. It like introduces the sound of what the album's going to be. It does a really good job of that.
And it's short though. That's the problem. I don't like short opening tracks. For me, an opening track of an album has got to either be an instrumental.
Ugh.
The opening and closing tracks have to be an instrumental or something that kicks the album off.
Ugh.
Like you know what to expect the next track. That's why I think Monkey Wrench should have opened the album.
Okay, see, here's the thing. I disagree with you on that. I think it is great for introducing the album. And there was this problem in the 90s with like short songs followed by hidden tracks.
Yeah.
And that ish doesn't play today within the history of, or in the era of MP3s. But have you ever, my 90s babies, you'll follow me here. Picture this. You're laying in bed. You've got your CD changer going. You just got it on random. You're just about to sleep. The music stops. You're like, oh, okay. Cool. You're too tired to really pay attention. You get good asleep. Like you get to that good sleep. Like it's been 8, 10, 12 minutes. No sound. All of a sudden, comes out of your radio and scares the ever-loving bejesus out of you.
Yeah, I did it a few times. There was Travis Blue Flashing Light. The first time I heard it, I wondered. I was playing around on something. I think my PlayStation. I had the sound turned down on that. I had the music blaring. Well, I say blaring, it's Travis.
Yeah.
And then the last song stopped, and I was in the middle of like my football match or my fight, and I was going to change the CD, and then all of a sudden the hidden track comes in and completely and utterly jumped up and maybe hit 3 feet off the bed. The reason I was laughing, you noticed me laughing just a second ago. I got to confirm this, but apparently, right? You know the Oasis album Heathen Chemistry?
Right.
Okay, they have a hidden track on there that is 38 minutes after the last track. Spotify has that version of the MP3 as its stream.
Oh, that is hilarious. That is hilarious. Well, good for Noel to make that money because he gets paid per second, doesn't he?
I think they all do. Like,
right? Well, I mean,
you play that 1,000 times, that's like, what, half a penny?
Maybe, but still, good for them. But no, there is no worse. I mean, yeah.
But going back to the original point, though, you've got to kick it off with what the album's about.
You get the overall general feel of the album, especially with Doll. And then it goes right from that, which is sort of, it's poppy, but it's a little mellow.
It's, okay, The Offspring. They have the last track on the album that's kind of like an outro of one of the other songs that they've done.
Right.
As like a, thank you for listening to the album. Here's some music, whatever. This is the opposite of that. In like, here's some music. This is, like you walk into the entrance and there's classical music playing above your head.
Right.
And then you kick open the door and then all of a sudden...
Monkey Wrench. Okay. But I love Monkey Wrench. And I mean, it's and to go ahead and dive into that one, I mean, Monkey Wrench, it's a fast tempo song with the riff over the main hook. It comes in at 175 beats per minute.
Which is... Yeah. I don't know how his arms don't fall off playing that.
Yeah. The furious tempo and angry sounding lyrics make this song a huge favorite of the fan base, myself included. Like I said, it was my wake up song every morning before high school. Dave has said it was a riff that turned into another riff that turned into another riff and ended up being a nice little power punk song, and that is correct. From what I understand, it's lyrically about Dave himself, right?
Yeah. It's about realizing that you were the source of all the problems in a relationship. That you love the other person so much that you want to free them of the problem, which is you. And he's quoted as saying that.
Right.
Was the first single on the album. And it was the last song that Pat Smear played with them live, and the last video he was involved in as well.
Yeah, and that was the one at the MTV thing. Yeah.
I mean, I love this song. I really do.
So do I. One and two. Yeah.
I mean, what's the best way to describe it? Aside from going over the technical stuff and everything like that, it is very, very loud, very, very fast, very, very not angry but aggressive. Yeah.
It's musical Red Bull.
Musical Red Bull. That's a great way to describe it.
It's just energy. It's just energy. I mean, I don't know how else to... It's a perk up song. Yeah.
It's motivation. It's... Again, not angry, but it's aggressive.
Right.
It's full of energy. It's got screaming. It's got singing.
It's cathartic.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I don't know, man. It's
I dig.
It's a great way. It's a great way to kick off an album. Track 2. Okay, fair enough. I can deal with it being track 2. Or a song like that being track 2.
And it was the first
single.
So yeah.
I don't like the video to it.
Yeah, it's alright.
It's like them locked in a room playing while another version of the band tries to break into the room.
Yeah.
And it's black and white. Yeah. And I don't know. It's trying to be a little too artsy-fartsy.
Well, I mean, it's Dave.
Yeah.
That era, again, this was after the video with the Mentos commercial. So, I mean,
some of the Foo Fighters videos are fantastic.
Yes, they are. Well, anything involving Dave, or I mean,
Learn to Fly had Tenacious D on it.
Yes.
So,
well, one of my favorite Dave projects outside of Foo Fighters and Nirvana isn't his Queens of the Stone Age stint. It's his version of All About the Benjamins with P. Diddy. I freaking love that song because he brought that same Monkey Wrench energy, and you're like, what you want to do? You want to be ballers?
Didn't he do, like, wasn't he the drummer of P. Diddy's album?
Yeah.
With Bad Boys for Life on it?
He did some of that stuff,
Okay.
and this was included in that.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, Grohl is just amazing.
He is. He's very flexible.
Yes.
You know, and I mean, he's by all accounts, he's a good guy too.
Yeah.
Aside from cheating on his wife.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Next song is "Hey Johnny Park."
Which is another one of your favorites.
That's one of my favorites. I just love the way the intro to it, because it's that heavy drum beat, then it comes into that riff, and then it goes into like a single guitar. You know, that's the hard way to describe it, but it goes from this real heavy track to a single guitar with a little bit of drums, and then to the chorus, it's back to, you know, what you expect from the Foo Fighters.
Right.
And, you know, I love... There's a bit in there that's really heavily phased right before the last chorus verse thing. You know, just you wonder what the heck's going on, and then all of a sudden back into everything.
Right.
Good production work.
Right.
Maybe a little out of place, but not really in the context of the song.
Right. And one of my favorite things that we've discovered in research is this quote from Grohl about it. It says, "Oh my God, that song's about 15 different things. The only reason why it's called Hey Johnny Park is because when I was young, my best friend was this kid who lived across the street from me called Johnny Park. And we were like brothers from the age of 5 to 12. I haven't heard from him since I was about 14 years old. And I thought if I named a song after him, he might call." So, I mean, like, hey, Johnny Park, pick up the damn phone. So I wonder, did he ever call?
That somebody has to have asked Dave Grohl that question, but I couldn't find the answer to it.
Yeah.
I did look. Did Johnny Park ever call Dave Grohl?
Right.
But I think that should have been a single. It should be more well known amongst non-Foo Fighter fans than...
All right.
Because everybody's got that one song that the fan base is absolutely drools over.
Right.
And the non-fan base is
like, what?
What's that one? Yeah. It's not Monkey Wrench, man. My Poor Brain. You know the song was originally supposed to be called Chicken Derby?
That doesn't surprise me. Doesn't have any meaning, though, does it?
No, it's experimenting. It's just a jam.
It's their Revolution number 9.
Number 9. I mean,
yeah.
You know, what Dave Grohl said, this song's an experiment with dynamics where the lyrics are the sound of the song. It's going from dreamy vocals to screamy vocals, Jackson 5 to Black Sabbath. Just sling it all in there.
Well, there you go.
So, yeah, that makes sense. It does kind of transcend genres.
Right. That's all right.
But as the song goes on, it becomes a more traditional rock song. So, yeah. What do you think?
I think it's all right. I mean, it's sort of filler, but it's all right.
All right. Now, this is a song that... The type of song that I like. It's called Wind Up.
Yeah,
the song
that's a good one.
is about a relationship between the musician and the journalist. Now, I love songs like this. I love when the musicians kind of... If you're a journalist, your name's going to be in print for a long time, but not everybody's going to see it. But if you write the smash hit song criticizing journalism, you're going to be there forever. You're going to be immortalized. Stereophonics wrote a song called Mr. Rider based off a review. Like, a journalist toured with the band for 6 months and wrote in his report slaying the band.
Right.
And said they have just enough education to perform. And
ouch.
So they wrote an album called Just Enough Education to Perform, and in the lyrics he said, you know, they quote that line. He's like, "I'd like to shoot you," because like that's insulting. You spent 6 months pretending to be a friend of mine,
right?
And to write something like
somebody watched Almost Famous a few too many times.
Yeah,
right.
Try.
And I think the most, not to get too far off track here, but one of the most recent instances of that happening is or of the talking to journalists in music is that Lily Allen song where she talks about, you know, we're looking in the sun and we look in the mirror. Yeah.
Dave Grohl said in an interview, I've got to get my glasses, this is a long quote, I apologize. It's about the relationship between the musician and the journalist, which annoys me in same ways. There are some artists who have nothing to do with more than bitch and complain about everything under the sun. Never a word about how fortunate they are. Think about a plastic card in a wall and it would spit out 20 quid just like that. That's what some of the journalists expect of me, the reluctant rock star. Sure, I don't want to be a rock star, but I feel pretty lucky that I could just go up and play guitar and play to more than 2 people a night. And people come up to me on the street and say, hey, I really like your record. That's not torture. That's fucking flattery, you know?
Mm-hmm. And this song is on the short side at around 2 minutes, 31 seconds.
Still longer than the opener.
Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of wah-wah and the guitar solo. And of course, it's got Dave's traditional screaming lyrics in the final verse.
Yeah.
That man must go through a lot of tea and honey at the end of every concert. He's got to.
And he goes for every single song.
Yeah, he just, there's no, yeah.
I can't even pretend to sing these songs, you know.
No.
Next track is called Up in Arms.
Yes. This song begins as a slower paced song than the rest of them, and it's very softer toned. And then it turns into a typical sounding Foo Fighters song with a faster pace and louder instruments, all while keeping the same lyrical theme. Yeah. And Grohl has stated that this song is just a typical love song. I mean, he said it's a typical love song. It's almost like a knack song, just a simple pop song.
And that's good too. I mean, you know, the mark of a good songwriter is somebody who can write different styles.
Right.
And, you know, if you can write, and I know rock and pop rock kind of the same thing, but they're not really. It's very, very subtle differences. And if you can write a good pop song, I mean, look at the Beatles. They wrote rock music and they wrote pop music, you know? And you can't tell me that Deep Prudence sounds like I Want to Hold Your Hand.
No,
you know,
not
they're
at
two
all.
completely different things. And But we go to My Hero.
I love this one.
I love this song too. It is not what everybody thinks it's about. I want to make this clear right now. It is not what the song everybody thinks this is about Kurt Cobain.
Okay, it's not 100% about Kurt. There are elements about him. Let's just dive into the research, shall we?
So Dave Grohl has said on numerous occasions this was not written about Kurt Cobain. Mm-hmm. He said, that's my way of saying that when I was young, I didn't have big rock heroes. I didn't want to grow up and be some big sporting hero. My heroes were ordinary people that I can have a lot of respect for and are just solid everyday people you can rely on. That's why the line goes, there goes my hero, he's ordinary.
Mm-hmm. However, in 99, he did admit that there were elements about there that could be contributed to Cobain.
Exactly, could be. So he wasn't consciously writing a song.
No, but subconsciously there's probably some.
Yeah. I mean, you know, because Kurt Cobain was an ordinary guy. I mean, he was homeless for a while. He just happened to be a musician.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but I don't know. I've always thought that this song was about everyday people.
Yeah.
You know.
It begins with double track drums.
Yes, which is very rare.
Mm-hmm. Playing the same beat with a different pad being hit on in each track on the mix.
Okay, so for those of you who are not drummers or producers, let me explain what that means. You ever see a drummer in a show kind of take like a little Allen key out and start messing around with his drum kit? Mm-hmm. He's for lack of a better term, he's tuning up his skins.
Right.
Or his pads.
Mm-hmm.
And for when you record, you know, with a set of microphones, and so they played that, and then they recorded him doing the same thing on a different not a different set of microphones, but they recorded a second time with his drum skins tuned to a different sound. Mm-hmm. That's why the drum sounds as loud as it does and sounds slightly different as well. Yes, see, I can put my technicalities to use.
Yes, but due to the complications of this, the song has a simpler beat when played live.
Yeah, because
he sort of shot himself in the foot on that one.
Yeah, he went a little too artsy-fartsy with this one. But then again, you know, you can't really do two drummers on tour. Now, okay, fair enough. You could just put a second kid out there and let Dave Grohl play it, but at the same time, he can't sing and drum that kind of beat at the same time.
Oh, he could get, what's her name? Nammy? Namby? Yes. This song is a slower pace than most of the album, but it keeps up with the loudness of the album.
Yeah.
And it has a reflective feel about it.
It does. It does. You do feel kind of, you know, not looking down, but looking back. And it's a wholesome song when you think about it. And that's, you know, when you're in the middle of a divorce, couch surfing, waiting for royalties to come in off an album that didn't sell great. It was a good album, but it wasn't a huge smash hit.
All right.
And you're couch surfing. You know, it's really easy to be cynical, and he wasn't cynical with this one. It was very, very nail, meat, head, you know.
Right.
did it really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of my favorite tracks Foo Fighters ever did is this next song.
See You?
Yes.
Okay.
It's they I've alluded to Oasis a few times, but this is their Digsy's Dinner on the album. It's okay. It's a song that was almost booted for the album because the rest of the band hated it.
Okay.
It's just a simple guitar, nice little twangy guitar playing. Musically, Dave Grohl said, I think the only reason I end up on the record is because I redid the drum track to make it sound like Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen. And it does sound like Crazy Little Thing Called Love,
I mean, this is another short song that comes in right at a little under 3 minutes. The song has mainly an acoustic guitar, but with an electric guitar in the background, with some slight effects on it. I mean, it twang-a-langs a little bit.
And it's the reason it reminds me of Digsy's Dinner by Oasis is not because it sounds like it, but because of the eccentricity of it.
Right.
You got this serious album with some fantastic songs, some wholesome songs that's broken up by
random. It's like the sherbet. It's the palate cleanser.
Yes. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes. And Grohl would go on to say that about it in interviews that it's just another pop song. It was the one song that nobody wanted to put on the record, but it's my favorite song.
Oh. Wait till you hear some of the other tracks on this album, Dave.
Right.
The next song's Enough Space.
Okay.
Now, I listened to this album about a week ago to prepare myself for this, and for the love of everything holy, my brain has forgotten what this even remotely sounds like. So this is on your shoulders.
Lordy. Well, the music for this one was designed specifically for it to be the opening track.
Okay.
Right? And Dave said it's got a tempo that mimicked the jumping and bouncing of the European crowds at the beginning of sets. So if you've ever seen like video of like Reading or anything like that, and then the crowds
the wave
just
that comes up.
The song is also about one of Grohl's favorite movies, Arizona Dream.
I've never seen Arizona Dream. Have you seen it?
Not in a million years.
Okay.
It starts with this really distorted guitar and bass before breaking out into a full arrangement. And then cuts into nothing but vocals and bass to a full arrangement again.
Okay.
So, it's okay. Like I said, it's a palate cleanser.
It's a palate cleanser?
Yes. So
I'm going to have to listen to it when we're done because it's going to bother me not knowing what it sounds like. Because that's the thing. I know what every single track has sounded like so far. This one has not stuck in my brain.
Yeah.
So I apologize for that. February Stars.
Love it.
Yes. Okay. I like this song.
So this was a slow burner.
It takes about 3 minutes for everything to get in for the full band arrangement, which for a Foo Fighters song
is weird.
Because 3 minutes is usually, we're about to sign off.
Right.
But
the rest of the song is quiet drums, guitars, and bass. It really is. It's a beautiful arrangement, which shows another dimension to Grohl's vocals. I mean, he's able to carry a song without, screaming it to Kingdom Come. At 3 minutes, the rest of the arrangement kicks in, but the tempo doesn't change.
Which on some of the other songs like this, the tempo has kicked on a little bit.
Right. And Grohl has said of it that it's just a song about hanging on by the tips of your fingers and hoping you don't slip and fall. It's very, very cool. It's one of those, you just lay back and chill and just observe. Like if Monkey Wrench is your morning Red Bull, then February Stars is your chill out melatonin gummy. As now we're older, so it is your chill song, and it leads in to another one of my favorite songs on the album.
Let me pause for right this second.
Okay.
Starting at February Stars, the next 3 songs, including February Stars, right? That I think is the best sequence on the album.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
And it's the most personal segments of the album, and I think that's what makes the album.
Yeah.
So it's a shame it's the back end of the album.
Finished strong.
But not the middle of the album, it's the back end of the album. Yeah. But man, do these 3 songs
Well, they have to. They have to be at the end. Because if they were at the beginning, then the rest of the album would just be there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
And if they were in the middle, then no one would finish the album.
True.
They're where they need to go. Okay, so the next, if you haven't guessed it, is my favorite ode to adultery, Everlong. It is the hit single on the album.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I mean, Monkey Wrench and the next track were big hits, but this was the hit.
Yes.
To this day, people consider it Foo Fighters. When you say Foo Fighters, you think, oh, Everlong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody has that one song where you say, you know.
And again, it's all about, well, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Okay, so, like I said, it is the hit single on the album. When jamming, Dave stumbled on a riff that was styled from Sonic Youth and developed the riff and remainder of the music. However, after months of jamming, they still only had rudimentary lyrics to the song.
Yeah, I mean, you know, his divorce was going through, and I mentioned earlier that he was couch surfing at this point because Nirvana royalties had more or less dried up at that point.
Yeah.
Because they weren't making any new music, and everybody, had bought Teen Spirit and not Teen Spirit, excuse me, Nevermind, and In Utero was done, and the royalties for Unplugged in New York hadn't
kicked in
yet.
Yeah.
So he's homeless and couch surfing.
Yeah, but he was also at the beginning of his relationship with Louise Post from Veruca Salt. So, and I love Veruca Salt. Yeah. One of these days we're gonna have to do an episode on them. I am huge Veruca Salt fans. And, they told you about the Seether before, the one that's neither or nor. And here's another clue, if you please. The Seether's Louise. 1, 2, 3, 4 points.
There you go.
All right.
20 points to Sarah.
Right. No. I'm saying points to listeners who can identify that song.
Oh.
The lyric. So, he woke up one night and finished the song in less than 45 minutes. He said that the song's about a girl that I'd fallen in love with. And it was basically about being connected to someone so much that not only do you love them physically and spiritually, but when you sing along with them, you harmonize perfectly.
You said that in Kerrang magazine. Mm-hmm. Surprised the readers didn't bottle the article. Because you can't be that sappy in Kerrang. You couldn't be. Grohl visited a friend's studio in the area and rough demoed the song, playing everything by himself. Now, I've been around bands who play live. I've been around bands who've recorded in the studio. That right there is the biggest pain in the ass to do, is to record a whole song by yourself because of the drums. You can play all the instruments yourself because you know when they come in or anything like that, but drums are the hardest one to do by yourself.
Yeah.
Well,
and then Grohl showed the band and Norton, who all approved of the song, thinking it was a masterpiece.
Definitely.
Yeah. The band reconvened and recorded a full version with Post on backing vocals recorded over the phone.
You can barely hear them, though. Which I think...
Yeah.
It's like an egg cracking.
Yeah.
You can barely hear it, but...
I mean, most people wouldn't even know she was there if they weren't told.
Yeah.
Musically, Grohl has stated in an interview that it was the first time I've ever played that new wave drum beat, and it was fun.
Yeah, it does have a very, very new wave kind of rhythm section to it. Yeah.
The song has also been played acoustically, with the band using that arrangement more and more on tour and on compilations.
Yeah, I think the acoustic not version, but the acoustic arrangement is better. But they couldn't do the acoustic arrangement on the album.
No.
Because of what follows, I think.
Right.
And I don't think they even tried to play an acoustic version of it for a couple of years, and when they did, they stumbled on something. More than the fact that, hey, let's see what this sounds like unplugged.
Right. Right.
Yeah, phenomenal song. I mean, don't know. Songwriters claim that there are certain songs in the universe that can only be written by certain people, and if you try and write a song like that, it's not going to go well. This is a perfect Dave Grohl song.
All right. No, it is. It's in my head.
It's got everything that you picture with the Dave Grohl song. It's got a riff that is catchy. It's got screaming lyrics.
Yes.
It's got singing lyrics.
Yes.
It's got a huge chorus.
Yes.
It's got big bits and loud big bits and small quieter bits.
Which is it's the Nirvana calling card there. The loud, quiet, loud.
If you had a business card with Dave Grohl on it, it would this would be the song on it.
Yes.
You know. But next track is called Walking After You, which completes the trilogy of real fantastic songs and hopeful songs.
Yes.
This is the second favorite Ode to Adultery.
Yes. And it wasn't a single in the US, but it was in the UK.
Yes.
And it was also featured on the X-Files soundtrack.
That right there is a weird soundtrack.
We're going to have to do an episode on that.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
Yeah.
We've got the X-Files TV show, but...
Yeah, we're going to do the soundtrack from the movie.
Too.
Yeah. Like February Stars is a slow song played with a minimal arrangement. And well, for the Foo Fighters, it is. If February Stars is your melatonin, then Walking After You is your edible.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
It's music-wise, content-wise, it's waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat.
Yes, but musically, it's just very chill.
Yeah.
It's extremely chill.
But this song is an emotional, sappy song about getting dumped.
Yep. The music video does not follow the Foo Fighters' normal quirky video style and is disliked by the band.
Which, Everlong was a serious music video, though.
Yeah, not really. Are there two versions of Everlong? Because my version of Everlong that I remember was quirky.
Explain.
Weren't they on the plane?
No, that's Learn to Fly.
No, there was another one. There's another... I know that's on the fly. But Everlong is... There's...
There must be two versions, because the one I've seen is more... He's at a party...
Yeah.
And he's looking for somebody, but it's not quirky and funny and, you know.
There's some quirky in ours, though. So there must be two versions. Y'all chime in and let us know. But yeah, the one I'm thinking of the plane is Learn to Fly. But no, this one's different.
Basically, Grohl got his divorce papers when he was writing this song.
Right.
And this is kind of, you know, what he was saying. What he was saying. He said, the first song, Doll, is about your fear of entering into something you weren't prepared for, which is how I feel about mostly everything. I'll go through this whole therapy session and end up at the last track and realize, okay, I can make my way through all of this and I'm not that freaked out in the end. We were joking for a while when we were thinking about the album, and I thought, why don't we put a picture of a therapist couch on it? For the rest of my life, when I listen to this record, it'll be the fall of 1996 and my journal entries, which is a little strange. You know, so it's like he's like the lyrics, you know, I'll come walking after you. He's only singing it half-heartedly.
Right.
And not that he's trying to sing it half-heartedly, but it's more along the lines of, if you left me, I wouldn't follow you.
Right.
Because we're done.
Yeah.
You know. Or if I left, you wouldn't follow me.
Right.
You know, this is the end. And we've covered a lot of albums that have that song. You know, that it's the end of a relationship and we wouldn't do anything about it.
Well, I mean... In the 90s, we just called it what it was. Called a spade and called it...
Because Gen X is making the music.
Yeah, we just... Yeah. I mean, I'm not... Yeah. I mean, you hit a wall and there's no plea... No, it's like, I love you. I'll always love you, but I'm not going to be with you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love you, but I'm not in love with you.
Right. And then last but not least is New Way Home. And, you know, it's an upbeat song to end the album. It's medium tempo, a normal arrangement.
Yeah. It kind of picks up halfway through the song.
Right.
And so it doesn't sound like a Foo Fighters song for half of it than it does for the second half of it.
And Grohl would go on to say that that's about winding your way through all of these songs, emotions and pitfalls and ups and downs. But at the end of the day, you realize that you're not scared anymore and you're going to make it.
So this is It's Gonna Be Okay song.
Yes. Yes.
I can see that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a good song, but long at 5 minutes, 40 seconds.
Yeah. But with the tempo change and the arrangement, it doesn't feel like 6 minutes.
Right.
It feels more like 4.
Right.
You know, so that is it. That is Foo Fighters' Color and Shape. Sarah, what do you give this album on a scale of 1 to 10?
Scale of 1 to 10, sentimental value and everything, I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. So between us, that's an 8.
There you go. Oh, you're at a 7?
Out of 7. Not because of anything. I didn't click to it on an emotional level until I did the research.
Gotcha.
So, you know, the last couple of listens to it have gotten better for me, but the first couple of listens still ring in my head.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, look, but the thing is this, right? Foo Fighters was a good album for what it was. This right here was a follow-up to end all follow-ups.
Gotcha.
I mean, the leap in quality
It really was. It's a very good sophomore album.
Yeah. Dave Grohl fits into the therapy session. This is his therapy. This is my life is falling apart. Let me write about it. Mm-hmm. I would have seen the track order being different.
Right.
But
I like it.
February Stars, Walking After You had to be split up by something.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Grohl's big voice covers different styles and he's able to pull everything off.
Right, because it's Dave.
And Hey Johnny Puck and February Stars is completely two underrated classics.
Exactly.
That should be known by more than just Foo Fighters fans or people who've listened to this album.
Yes.
So, how did that leave the band? Well, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year.
Heck yeah, they were.
Pat Smear would leave the band in 97 and join back up in 2005.
Right.
Follow-up album called There's Nothing Left to Lose was lighter in tone and performance in a lot of areas. Like Next Year and Learn to Fly were more traditional going, and they still perform to this day because they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes.
So it's one of the best bands of all time producing their best work.
Yes.
So that is it for Foo Fighters. So I'll be back here in a couple of minutes.
Yes.
And to wind everything up. Sarah, it's been good to have you on.
Thank you. It's been good to be back.
Yes, and we will see you next week, unless you want to join me for the end of the show. But if not, Sarah will be back next week when we talk about one of our favorite movies. Our favorite movies.
Yes.
So it'll be good to go. All right, and we'll be back here in a few minutes. Everybody, we got a few more minutes left to go. First thing to do, sincere thanks Sarah for showing up. I know she's been very, very busy, and I thank her for taking time out of her busy schedule to come and go ahead and talk to us. If you like what you hear from her, go check out Twitter and Instagram at sconnelly318. That's where you'll get her dorkiness in full flow. And yeah, and she will be back next week, and I'll explain what's coming next week. Next week in the Because Women Network, we continue our playthrough of Pokemon Blue over on YouTube. We're getting near the end. Thank God. It's been a long time coming. And we're currently wrapping up some major things. I'm not exactly sure which episodes go out this week, but check us out on Tuesday and Thursday over on YouTube, okay? And next week, now, oh, yes, that's one thing too. I wanted to apologize. Last week we advertised this week's episode was going to be Super Mario in the 90s. Unfortunately, due to some scheduling conflicts, I was not able to sit down with Greg. We are going to push that back to later on in the season. So, in the meantime, Sarah will be joining us again next week, where we talk about one of our favorite movies. And I say ours because we're talking about a movie that's so bad, it's excellent. 1997, Con Air. I'm going to have a lot of fun with that one. We watched it the other night. I forgot how great it was. And you'll hear all of our thoughts and opinions on it next week. Okay? And that is it for this podcast. So, if you like what you see, or like what you hear even, go check out Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You'll find all of our latest news. Go ahead and give us a like while you're there. If you want to check out older episodes of Because Maybe Podcast, or anything that we've ever done, check out becausemaybepodcast.com. That's got all of our archives from every single show that we have ever done. Okay, ever. And of course, if this is not where you usually listen to podcasts, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podchaser, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, and of course Podbean. Okay, and that is it. So we will see you next week. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins. I don't know what I'm doing. I have a hard time closing these things out. Just be yourself, have a good time, and we'll catch you next Sunday. All right, take it easy, everybody. Bye. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the 90s podcast right here in the Because of Me Network. Hope you're doing well today. And we continue in our... Well, no, that's the wrong show. Never mind, let me start that again. I found the end piece at least anyway.
Right.